Every battle is won before it is ever fought. This ancient wisdom from Sun Tzu isn't just about war. It's about life. It's about how you approach your goals, your challenges, your growth. In a world that constantly demands action, we often forget that true power lies in preparation, mental, emotional, and strategic. So today, we're diving into 7 powerful lessons from the art of war. Not for generals, but for anyone committed to personal mastery. These aren't just military tactics. They're timeless principles that can help you take control of your mind, your path, and your destiny. And here's a heads up. All 7 lessons carry deep wisdom. But the final 3, those are the ones that might just change the way you see yourself and the battles you face forever. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. Know yourself and your enemy. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Sun Tzu, this is where personal development begins. You can't grow, improve, or win at anything if you're blind to what's happening inside you and around you. Yet most people go through life reacting to situations, blaming others, and repeating the same mistakes without ever stopping to understand who they really are or what exactly they're up against. Knowing yourself is more than repeating affirmations or labeling your personality type. It's about sitting with yourself in silence and asking the uncomfortable questions. What are my real strengths? What do I constantly avoid? What situations trigger my insecurity, laziness, or fear? What have I been running from that's actually holding me back? Take a simple example. Imagine someone who wants to start a business. They've got the idea, the inspiration, and even some skills. But every time they need to promote themselves or reach out to people, they hesitate, they procrastinate, they feel stuck. Deep down, they're afraid of being judged, ignored, or rejected. That fear, unseen and unacknowledged, becomes their invisible enemy. They don't lose because they lack talent. They lose because they never took the time to face what's really inside them. At the same time, knowing your enemy means understanding the external forces that work against you. In personal development, your enemy might not be a person. It could be your daily routine that kills your focus, the people around you who constantly discourage you, or the environment that drains your energy. It could be competition in your field, changes in the economy, or just the natural resistance of the world, pushing back whenever you try to rise. Let's go back to the example. The person wants to build a brand, but they haven't researched their audience. They haven't studied what works in their market. They haven't prepared for the criticism or challenges that come with visibility. So even if they manage to start, they're unprepared for what comes next. But if they had taken the time to understand both their inner fears and the outer landscape, they'd enter the process more confident, more focused, and more prepared. Sun Tzu's advice isn't poetic, it's practical. Knowing yourself is about mastering your inner world so it doesn't sabotage you. Knowing your enemy is about studying the world around you so it doesn't surprise you. When you do both, you don't just survive the battle, you control it. Lesson 2. Strategy is more important than raw force. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Sun Tzu, in a culture that glorifies hustle, intensity, and working until burnout, this lesson is a wake-up call. True, power isn't in constant motion or brute effort. It's in strategy, in knowing how to act, when to act, and most importantly, why you're acting in the first place. Most people jump into their goals like they're running into battle with no plan. They chase success with urgency, hoping that sheer willpower will be enough. But without a clear direction, all that effort often leads to exhaustion, confusion, and disappointment. Sun Tzu understood something that many people ignore. The greatest victories are often silent. The smartest moves are invisible. Subduing The enemy without fighting means creating such a strong position, so well prepared, so well calculated, that resistance becomes unnecessary. Let's bring this to everyday life. Imagine someone who wants to get in shape. They wake up one morning feeling motivated, so they decide to go all in. They hit the gym for 2 hours, cut all their favorite foods, and commit to a strict routine overnight. It sounds impressive, until they crash 3 days later, overwhelmed, and soar and go back to old habits. That's force without strategy. Now imagine someone else. Before changing anything, they take a week to study their patterns. They identify when they tend to overeat, what triggers their laziness, and what routines they can realistically maintain. Then they build a plan. Simple workouts, gradual diet changes, and accountability check-ins. It's slower, quieter, less dramatic. But 2 months later, they're still going strong, making real progress and staying consistent. That's strategy in action. That's winning without a struggle. This applies to every area of life. Whether you're building a career, healing from emotional pain, or pursuing a dream, you need a clear plan. What's your objective? What are the stages to get there? What obstacles are likely to appear? And how will you respond when they do? Without that kind of thinking, you're just reacting. And reaction without direction is wasted energy. Sun Tzu reminds us that preparation, clarity, and timing are stronger than aggression. Strategy turns chaos into opportunity. It allows you to conserve energy, avoid unnecessary conflict, and move with precision. The smartest warriors don't fight every battle. They only fight the ones they've already won in their minds. Lesson 3. Adapt to circumstances. Just as water shapes its course according to the terrain, you must adjust your tactics to the enemy. Sun Tzu, one of the most important skills in life, is the ability to adapt. Yet it's one of the hardest to master because it requires flexibility, awareness, and the willingness to let go of control. We're often taught to set goals, make a plan, and stick to it no matter what. That mindset can be powerful, but it becomes dangerous when it turns rigid. The truth is, no plan survives contact with reality unless it can bend. Sun Tzu compares a wise strategist to water, always moving, always adjusting, always finding a way. Water doesn't try to force its way through a mountain. It flows around it. It doesn't resist the shape of the terrain. It responds to it. Now think about how this applies to real life. Picture someone who's determined to follow a strict career path. They've mapped out every step, the degree, the job, the promotions. But halfway through, the industry changes. Opportunities shift. What once seemed promising now feels empty or unstable. Instead of adapting, they double down on the original plan, refusing to pivot, afraid to change course. Eventually, they burn out or fall behind, not because they lacked talent, but because they couldn't let go of an outdated path. Now compare that to someone who constantly scans their environment. They notice changes, they listen, they stay grounded in their purpose, but flexible in their approach. If a door closes, they look for another. If a method fails, they try a new one. These people aren't weaker, they're wiser. They understand that strength doesn't always look like resistance. Sometimes it looks like flow. Adaptability is not passivity. It's active awareness. It means reading the room, adjusting your energy, rethinking your strategy, and doing what's needed, not just what you originally planned. In personal development, this could mean changing your habits when your schedule shifts. It could mean learning to communicate differently in a relationship when what used to work stops working. It could mean realizing that your version of success 5 years ago no longer fits who you are today, and having the courage to redefine it. Like water, you don't need to be rigid to be powerful. You need to be responsive. Sun Tzu teaches that flexibility is a form of strength. The people who win in the long run aren't always the ones who push the hardest. They're the ones who adjust the fastest. Lesson 4. Seize the right moment. Opportunity is like a wild horse. You only master it if you're ready when it passes. In life, success doesn't always go to the strongest, the smartest, or even the most prepared. Many times, it goes to those who understand timing. They know when to act, when to wait, when to speak, and when to stay silent. Timing isn't just a detail, it's a force that can turn ordinary actions into powerful breakthroughs. Sun Tzu never rushed into battle. He observed, he waited, he read the energy of the moment. And when the conditions were right, he moved, swiftly and without hesitation. That's the difference between people who chase opportunities and those who catch them. Let's look at this in everyday life. Imagine someone who's been working on their skills quietly for years. They're not flashy, they're not constantly promoting themselves, but they're consistent. Then one day, a conversation opens up, a position becomes available, a door cracks just slightly, and they're ready. They recognize it, they act immediately. And what looks like luck to everyone else is actually preparation meeting timing. Now think of the opposite. Someone full of ambition, always talking about what they're going to do, but never truly preparing. Then an opportunity shows up, a connection, a chance to speak up, a project they've dreamed of. But they hesitate. They're not ready. So it passes. Timing rewards those who are aware and prepared. It punishes those who are distracted and reactive. This applies to personal transformation too. Sometimes you feel a sudden urge to change, to break a bad habit, to start something new, to speak a truth you've held back. That moment has energy, but if you overthink it or wait too long, it fades. You return to the old routine and the window closes. The wild horse doesn't wait. It runs fast and free. And only those who are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually alert can jump on when it comes near. To apply this lesson, stay ready. Build your foundation every day, even when nothing seems to be happening. Sharpen your skills, train your mind, heal your heart. So when life opens a door, you're not caught off guard. The right moment is powerful, but only if you're prepared to meet it. Lesson 5. Use surprise to your advantage. Attack where the enemy is unprepared. Appear where he does not expect. One of the greatest tools in life, and one of the most underestimated, is the element of surprise. Not in the sense of deception, but in the ability to move in silence, to act without warning, and to deliver results when no one saw it coming. Sun Tzu knew that when people are predictable, they're easy to control. But when you act unexpectedly, you gain a psychological edge. You shift the balance. You make others pause, hesitate, or underestimate you, and in that pause, you create space to win. Let's apply this to real life. Imagine someone who's been doubted their entire life. Maybe they were told they weren't smart enough, skilled enough, or strong enough. Instead of arguing or trying to prove themselves constantly, they choose to stay quiet. They train in silence, they grow behind the scenes. While everyone else is distracted, they're building something powerful. Then, out of nowhere, they launch a business, write a book, land a dream opportunity, and no one saw it coming. That's the power of moving where others aren't looking. Surprise isn't about being sneaky. It's about being strategic. It's about refusing to follow the script that people expect from you. Most people make their intentions obvious. They talk too much, reveal too soon, or follow the same predictable paths. But if you can stay calm, stay patient, and make your move when no one expects it, you catch the world off guard. And that's when real momentum begins. This also applies internally. Surprise can be used against your own patterns. If you always give up at the same point, do something different. If you always fall into the same mental trap, break the pattern before it forms. Surprise isn't just about shocking others. It's about disrupting the routine that keeps you stuck. Think about it. How many times have you made a decision impulsively just because it was familiar? What if you did the unexpected instead? What if you paused? What if you responded with silence when anger was expected? What if you chose discipline when excuses were available? Those small surprises, to yourself, to others, to life, are often what create the biggest shifts. Sun Tzu teaches that surprise isn't chaos. It's calculated unpredictability. It's the art of showing up with strength where no one is looking, especially when the world assumes you're weak or not ready. And that's when transformation becomes undeniable. Lesson 6. Discipline and order are fundamental. Discipline is the foundation of a victorious army. This is one of the most powerful truths in both war and personal growth, and one that many people overlook. We often admire talent, creativity, ambition, but none of that lasts without discipline. Discipline is what turns dreams into action, and action into results. It's the structure that supports greatness, especially when motivation fades. Sun Tzu understood that no army wins on passion alone. They win because they are trained, organized, focused. When chaos breaks out, it's discipline that keeps them steady. And it's no different in life. Let's bring this down to the personal level. Think about someone trying to change their life. Maybe they want to break a toxic habit, get in shape, or build a business. At first, they're excited. Energy is high, ideas are flowing. But then comes the hard part, consistency, the early mornings, the late nights, the setbacks, the boring days when progress feels invisible. This is where most people quit. Not because they're incapable, but because they never built discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing order over impulse. It's creating structure so that chaos doesn't control you. Now picture someone who creates order in their life. They wake up with purpose. They block distractions. They stay committed even when results are slow. They don't need constant motivation because they've trained themselves to act from principle, not emotion. And slowly, almost quietly, they begin to rise above the rest. That's not luck, that's discipline in motion. It also protects your energy. When you live with order, when your mind, habits, and environment are aligned, you waste less time, you make fewer emotional decisions, you recover faster from setbacks because your life isn't running on chaos, it's running on purpose. And there's something else Sun Tzu implies. Discipline isn't just about self-control, it's also about unity. In an army, discipline aligns everyone toward the same goal. In your life, it does the same. It aligns your thoughts, your choices, and your actions towards something meaningful. That unity creates strength. Without discipline, talent burns out, ideas fade, progress collapses under pressure. But with discipline, even small, simple routines, you become unstoppable. You move forward whether the world applauds or not. You show up even when no one's watching. And that's how victories are built, one quiet, disciplined step at a time. Lesson 7. Victory belongs to those who persist. No battle is lost by those who refuse to give up. This is the heart of it all, the most essential truth. You can have talent, you can have a plan, you can even have a perfect moment to act, but if you give up when things get hard, none of it matters. In the end, the ones who win aren't always the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who refuse to quit. Sun Tzu knew that war wasn't about one big moment of brilliance. It was about endurance, about staying calm when others panic, about finding a way forward when all options seem closed. In battle, just like in life, the ability to persist is what separates victory from defeat. We often imagine success as something quick and dramatic, but most victories come after a long, invisible fight. The fight with your own doubts, with exhaustion, with failure, with the temptation to take the easy way out. Think of someone trying to overcome anxiety, addiction, or self-doubt. It's not a straight line. They'll fall, they'll relapse, they'll question everything, but if they keep getting back up, if they keep learning, adjusting and pushing forward, something begins to shift. Little by little, they grow stronger. Until, one day, the thing that once controlled them loses its power. That's not magic. That's persistence. Or picture someone building something meaningful, a business, a craft, a purpose-driven life. The first months are hard, results are slow, critics show up. Money's tight, fear creeps in. But they keep going. Not because it's easy, but because they believe the struggle is part of the story. That's what Sun Tzu meant. The battle only ends when you stop fighting. So don't. There will be moments when it feels pointless, when you're doing everything right, and still nothing's changing. But that's exactly when most people quit. And that's exactly when you need to keep going. Persistence doesn't mean blindly pushing without reflection. It means adapting, learning, evolving, but never walking away from what matters. It means staying committed to your growth, even if it takes longer than expected, even if no one claps, even if you're the only one who believes it's possible. Because persistence isn't loud, it's quiet. It's built in early mornings, late nights and moments of solitude, but over time it becomes unbreakable. And in the end, life rewards those who didn't give up when it would have been easier to stop. Sun Tzu reminds us, as long as you keep moving forward, the battle is not lost. Victory always belongs to those who endure. Deep down, true transformation begins when we realize we are the architects of our own destiny, each choice, each thought shaping the reality we live in. Don't wait for an external sign to awaken your inner power. It's already inside you, waiting to be unleashed. As the great philosopher Socrates said, "Know thyself is the first step toward true freedom." If you're ready to embark on this journey of self-discovery and growth, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next life-changing videos. Share this with someone who needs to hear this message and drop a like to help build a community of truth seekers. Together we rise one step at a time,